Greetings, I'm Professor K, and in this short video presentation, we're going to see how we go about creating a virtual install of Fedora server using VirtualBox. So for this lab demonstration, I'm going to be using one virtual install of Windows 10. I will be downloading VirtualBox from the VirtualBox download site, and I will be downloading the latest version of Fedora server. And so if you haven't done so already, you're going to need a download of VirtualBox installed on your machine. To get this, just open up your favorite search engine, and in the search bar, you're going to type in a VirtualBox download or download VirtualBox, whichever you prefer, and you're going to find the download link for VirtualBox. Once you find that, you click it. You're going to go to the download site. Now, depending on what your operating system is, I'm using Windows. If you're using a Mac or you're using a Linux, there is a download for you. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Windows host download. With the VirtualBox download complete, we can now proceed on to downloading an ISO image for the Fedora server. Again, to do this, I'm going to open up my favorite search engine, and in the search bar, I'm going to type in download Fedora server. I'm going to take the link for the Fedora project. Once I get to the link and it opens for me, I'm going to scroll down that first list to the left that shows me the versions that I have for 86_64 systems. And I'm going to select the second option, which is the DVD ISO. I'm going to select the direct download method, and that's going to begin the download for Fedora server. Now, with both downloads complete, the first thing we'll need to do is to install VirtualBox. To do this, I'm going to go to File Explorer. From here, I'm going to scroll on over to the left window pane and find my Downloads folder. I'm going to find the download for VirtualBox and just double-click it. That will begin the install. The VirtualBox installer works like any other software installer. All you have to do is just follow through and accept the defaults of the wizard. So I'm just going to click Next. Click Next. Again, accept the defaults. Click Next. Click Yes. Click Yes one more time. That completes the VirtualBox setup wizard, and we're now ready to complete the installation. Go ahead and click the button that says Install. When the installation completes, click Finish. This is going to open up the VirtualBox Manager. Open it up as wide as possible, and over here in the left window pane, you're going to see that you have an area where you can create your virtual installs. Back at the VirtualBox download site, we need to download the extension pack for this particular version of VirtualBox. So scroll down until you come to the VirtualBox 7. Whatever version it is, VM VirtualBox extension pack. Click on the link for all supported platforms. Once the download has completed, just go ahead and double click it, and the install of the extension pack will begin. As we did before, just follow the wizard. Now, for this window, you have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you'll have access to the I agree button. That completes the installation of VirtualBox. We're now ready to proceed on with creating our virtual install of Fedora server. Now, with our VirtualBox Manager open, we can now create a virtual install of Fedora server. Now, to begin this process, we're going to go up here inside of our VirtualBox Manager, and we're going to go to Machine. From the taskbar, we're going to click on Machine, and from the context menu, we're going to select New. In this first window here, we're going to give our virtual installer user-friendly name. I'm going to call mine Fedora server. Move this over just a little bit. I'm going to save this installation of my virtual install to a separate partition so that I don't take up the space on my C drive. Where you save yours is up to you. We next need to browse on over to the ISO image. To do this, I'm going to pull down this third window here, I'm going to locate the download for the ISO image of Fedora server, and this will provide the path for the ISO image. You'll notice that VirtualBox immediately picks up what it is we're trying to do here, and it tells us the type is Linux and that it is Fedora 64-bit. Underneath the unintended install, there's nothing for us to do. For the hardware, I'm going to go ahead and increase the amount of RAM to 4 gigs. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. It will work with whatever you have, but the more RAM, the easier it is to work with the operating system. I'll increase the number of processors that I want to use to 2. I have a multi-core processor. Now for the hard disk, I'm going to go ahead and increase the size of this dynamic virtual disk to 50 gigs. Doesn't mean that it's going to take up 50 gigs of space. It means that it can expand up to 50 gigs. It'll only use the disk space that it needs. It won't take the whole 50 gigs on your hard drive. When I'm done there, I'll just click Finish. Now notice over in the left window pane you have a virtual disk for Fedora server. It is pointed to the ISO image. When I start this machine or this disk, it's going to begin the installation of Fedora server. Let's go ahead and just double click it, and the installation process begins. On this first screen, we're going to use our up arrow, and we're going to choose from the menu Install Fedora server. In this instance, it says Install Fedora 40. It doesn't make any difference what version you're using. If your version is version 41, 42, 43, or 141, it doesn't make any difference. The installation process is going to remain the same. Once you have selected the correct option, go ahead and hit the Enter key one time. The installation process begins. On this first screen of the installation, choose your language. I'm going to scroll down here till I have access to the Continue button. It defaults to English. I'm going to click Continue. You'll see on this next screen that we have a number of warnings, and we're going to begin by choosing the partition we want to use for this virtual installation. So I'm going to click on this installation destination. Now by default, it's going to find that 50 gigabyte dynamic drive that we created. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Notice that it turns blue. Scroll up, and you can now click on Done. The next thing we have to do is set up the root account. So let's go ahead and get this done. We're going to go ahead and enable root account. We're going to type in our root password. You use whatever password you feel comfortable with. I'm also going to allow SSH login with this password. When I'm done there, I'm going to go back over to the left, upper left, and click the Done button. And that's going to fix all of the issues that we were warned about. I'm now going to scroll down, and I'm going to click on the button where it says Begin Installation. This is going to take a few minutes. Usually about 5 to 10 minutes, the installation will complete. It may look like it's hanging. All you have to do is watch the text change. The bar may not seem like it's moving, but just watch the text. That will change. Do not interrupt this installation or you'll have to start over. Now once the installation reboots, we're going to come up to a terminal. There is no desktop available for Fedora server by default. And we're not going to install a desktop. We're going to be using the terminal for this entire course. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to log on as root. At the localhost login, you're going to type in root. You're going to hit enter. You're going to come down to the password. You're going to type in the password, but you will not be able to see the characters as you type. This is the default behavior of Linux. If you typed in the password correctly, you will be given a root prompt. Now the next thing we need to do after we get back up to a terminal prompt is to perform an update. Now to do this, we're going to need internet access. To ensure that we have internet access, at the top of your screen, you're going to click on Devices, scroll on down to Network. You're going to open up Network Settings. Here we're going to select our network type. In this instance, I want to pull down where it says attached to, and I want to select NAT network. From there, I'm just going to say OK. We now have the internet access that we need to pull down the updates. At the root prompt, you're going to type in the following: DNF space update. This will begin the update process for your installation of Fedora server. Go ahead and hit enter, and the update process will begin. Now, once it has figured out what updates are available, got to scroll down over here on the right, it's going to ask you if you want to proceed. So down at the bottom, you're just going to type in Y for yes. And now the installation of the available updates will begin. Do not interrupt this process of updating, as it will corrupt this current installation that you're working with, and you will begin the process from the beginning. Once the update is complete, it'll come back to the prompt. It's always a good idea that once you do an update, especially a massive update like this, that you go ahead and reboot the server one more time. So let's go ahead and at the prompt, let's type in a reboot. The machine will automatically reboot and come up to a terminal prompt. So after the reboot, we're back up to our logon prompt. Again, type in root for your username, hit enter. Again, type in your password for your root account, hit enter, and you're back to the prompt. Now, we need to shut down this machine gracefully. This machine is no different than any other production machine. It is capable of actually working in a live environment, so we have to treat it with care. So to shut it down gracefully, we use the shutdown command. So I'm going to type in shutdown and hit enter. And it tells you the shutdown scheduled for this time. Use the shutdown-C command to cancel. So it'll shut down in just a moment. And so that concludes this short video presentation on how we go about creating a virtual install of Fedora server using VirtualBox. You got any questions, you got any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out, contact your instructor. And as always, thank you for watching.